My people, stop whatever you're doing right now, because today's episode of Homecoming just went and rearranged my whole nervous system. If you're new here, welcome, pull up a chair, grab your tea, because I am your host and this is your daily Homecoming recap, where I break down everything that happened in Bergville today so you don't have to stress about missing a single second. And if you're one of my regulars, hi, I missed you, and boy do I have a story for you today. Quick refresher for anyone just joining us, we are deep into Homecoming Season 2 right now. Zethu has been digging into something dark, an organ harvesting operation that's been quietly terrorizing Bergville. Shobane is out here trying to prove himself in his new role and it is not going the way he planned. Nomalanga has been backed into a corner financially and emotionally, and Vusi. We've been watching this boy spiral for weeks now, and today, my friends, it finally caught up with him. Okay, I'm not going to waste any more of your time with preamble. Let's get into it, scene by scene, because there is so much to cover. Scene 1, the Hlongwana Zethu storyline. We open at the clinic. Well, actually, we open on Zethu, and she has that look. You know the look. The I found something and I'm not going to sleep until I understand it look. She's been chasing this organ harvesting thread for what feels like forever now. Everybody around her has been telling her to back off, let the police handle it. This isn't her fight, and does she listen? Of course not. This is Zethu we're talking about. So today, she's going through some records, and I won't spoil exactly how she gets her hands on them, because genuinely, watching her pull this off is half the fun, but she starts connecting names. People who've gone missing. People who were supposedly transferred to other hospitals and just never showed up there. And her face when it clicks. When she realizes this isn't some random criminal operation, this is organized, this is close to home. Chef's kiss on the acting, I'm not going to lie. Can we talk about how reckless she's been though? Like, girl, I love your passion, I love that you care about your community, but you are one person against what looks like a whole network of people willing to literally kill for this. I was yelling at my screen. Call someone. Tell anyone. And what does she do instead? She decides to dig deeper. Alone. At night. Because sure, why not? She has this tense exchange with someone close to her, and I'm being vague here on purpose because I don't want to hand you the whole conversation word for word, but the gist of it is, this person is basically begging her to drop it, telling her she's in over her head, that she's bitten off more than she can chew. And Zethu, being Zethu, just gets more determined. There's this moment where she looks almost scared, for half a second, and then it's gone, replaced by that stubborn Josette we all know. And I'm sitting here like, girl, that flicker of fear. That was your gut telling you something. Please listen to it next time. By the end of this scene, she thinks she's identified who's actually running this thing. And when that name drops, I actually gasped. Out loud. Alone. In my room. That's how good this reveal was. I'm not going to tell you the name yet, because I want you to react the way I did, but I will say this, it is someone we have seen before, someone who's been hiding in plain sight this whole season, and once you know, you're going to go back through earlier episodes and see all the clues we missed. It's one of those reveals. Scene 2, Shobane's crumbling new role. Okay, moving over to Shobane, and listen, I have had mixed feelings about this man all season, but today I actually felt for him a little bit, even though a huge part of me is thinking this is what you get. So remember, he stepped into this new position, new responsibility, new authority, new pressure, and he was so confident about it, walking around like he had it all figured out. Well, today, the cracks are showing. Big time. He's confronted about decisions he made, choices that look smart in the moment but are now blowing up in his face, and the way this scene is shot, there's this great use of close-ups where you can just see him realizing, in real time, that he is not as in control as he thought he was. There's a confrontation, and this one is loud. Voices raised, accusations flying, someone basically telling him straight to his face that his new role has come back to bite him, and that everyone around him is starting to see through the cracks. And Shobane, who normally has a comeback for everything, is just quiet. For a second. Which, if you've been watching this show as long as I have, you know that silence means something. Shobane silent is scarier than Shobane shouting, because it means he's plotting. Honestly, I was getting genuine anxiety watching this scene. Because you can tell, this isn't over. This is a man who's about to do something desperate to cover his tracks, and knowing this show, desperate usually makes everything 10 times worse. I need you all to brace yourselves for whatever Shobane cooks up next, because it is not going to be pretty. Scene 3, Namalanga's breaking point. Now here's the scene that actually got me a little emotional, not going to lie. Namalanga. We have watched this woman hold it together through so much this season, and today, the walls are closing in. Financial pressure from people around her, and this episode makes it very clear, she has hit the point where she's about to make a choice she swore she would never make. We don't get the full picture of what that choice is yet. The episode is smart about teasing it rather than showing her full hand, but there's the scene where she's sitting alone, and you can see her going back and forth, weighing something in her mind. And then someone comes to her with an offer. An opportunity that on the surface sounds like a lifeline, but if you've watched even one South African soapie in your life, you already know, nothing that convenient ever comes without strings attached. She hesitates. Genuinely hesitates. And for a moment I thought, okay, she's going to say no, she's stronger than this. But then the episode ends that thread on this note of her just staring at the offer, not saying yes, not saying no. And that ambiguity. That's the show trying to kill us slowly. I need to know what she decides, and I need to know now. Can we also talk about how this connects to everything else going on? Because my brain is already spinning theories, is her desperation somehow going to tie into the organ harvesting storyline? Is she about to get pulled into something way bigger than she realizes? I don't have proof yet, but my gut is telling me these storylines are going to collide, and honestly, that would be such a smart move by the writers. Scene 4, Vusi's collapse, the big one. Okay. We need to talk about Vusi, because this is the scene that's going to have everyone talking tomorrow. We've watched Vusi go down this path for weeks, the drug use, the denial, everyone around him pretending not to see it or just not knowing how to confront him about it. And today, it finally caught up with him in the worst possible way. The scene starts almost normal, Vusi going about his day, and if you didn't know better you might think he's actually doing okay. But then something shifts. He starts looking unsteady. Sweating. And the camera lingers just a little too long on his face for comfort, and you just know something bad is about to happen. And then it does. He collapses. Full collapse, right there, in front of people who have no idea what's actually going on with him. And the chaos that follows, people shouting, someone screaming for help, hands trying to figure out what to do, genuinely had my heart racing. This is one of those scenes where the editing does so much work, quick cuts, panicked voices overlapping, and then that hard cut to black before we jump to the hospital. I actually paused the episode here. I needed a second. Because as much as Vusi has frustrated me this season, and listen, he has frustrated me, some of his choices have made me want to reach through the screen. Nobody deserves to be lying on the ground like that while the people around him panic, not knowing if he's going to make it. Cut to Bergville Hospital. Vusi is rushed in, and it is touch and go for a while. The doctors are working on him, someone from his family arrives in absolute hysterics, and there's this gut punch of a moment where a doctor comes out to speak to them and the whole room just freezes, waiting for the verdict. I'm not going to lie to you, I was bracing for the worst. This show has killed characters before with zero warning, so my guard was fully up. But, and here's where the episode does something really smart, he survives. Barely. He pulls through, but the doctor is blunt about how close it was, and there's this line where they basically tell him, once he's conscious enough to understand, that this was a wake-up call, that his body cannot take another hit like this. And the look on Vusi's face when he hears that. It's not relief. It's shame. Pure, quiet shame. That's some really strong acting right there, because he doesn't need dialogue to sell it, his face does all the work. Here's my hot take though, I don't think this is going to be the moment he magically turns his life around. Shows like this love to tease redemption and then yank it away right when you start to believe it. I think we're going to get 1, maybe 2 episodes of him seeming like he's changing, and then something is going to pull him right back under. Call it a prediction, write it down, come back to this recap in a couple weeks and tell me if I was right. Scene 5, the matron and the fallout. Quick but important scene here, matron Kothazile gets pulled into the aftermath, and we see her trying to hold things together for the family while clearly carrying her own weight of guilt and worry. There's a small moment between her and another character where all tension bubbles up again, nothing fully resolved, just enough to remind us that this woman has her own unresolved stuff going on underneath all this caretaking she does for everyone else. I love when this show gives her these little beats, because she could so easily just be background support, but they keep reminding us she's got her own storm brewing. Scene 6, the episode's final gut punch. And then, we get to the closing scene, and this is where the episode ties its threads together in the most stressful way possible. Zethu, having pieced together who's behind the organ harvesting operation, makes a decision. She's going to confront this situation head-on instead of going to the authorities first, because of course she is. Have you met this woman? And the final shot of the episode is her walking towards someone, we don't fully see who yet, with this look of grim determination on her face. And then it cuts to black. I actually yelled. I stood up off my couch and yelled at absolutely nobody, because how dare they end it there? We know she's found out who's responsible. We know she's about to do something incredibly dangerous. And we are left with zero idea whether she's about to walk into a trap. Host commentary predictions segment. Okay, let's talk predictions, because my brain has not stopped working since this episode ended. First, Zethu. I genuinely think she's walking into danger here. This show has set up she's bitten off more than she can chew language all episode, and I don't think that's just flavor text, I think that's foreshadowing. My prediction. Next episode opens with her in serious trouble, and someone close to her has to come rescue her, possibly putting themselves at risk in the process. Second, Showbane. That silence after being confronted. I think he's about to do something to cover his tracks that ends up exposing him even more. Watch this space, because I don't think we've seen the worst of his unraveling yet. Third, Namalanga. I think she takes the offer. I don't think she wants to, I think she's going to convince herself it's temporary, just this once, and we all know that's never how it works on this show. I'm calling it now. This decision is going to blow up in a big way down the line. And Vusi, like I said, I don't trust this wake-up call to stick. I think we get a short redemption arc before something drags him right back down. I really hope I'm wrong on this one, honestly, because I do want to see him get better, but this show loves to twist the knife. OUTRO. Okay, my people, that's today's episode of Homecoming, wrapped up and unpacked for you. Honestly, one of the more intense episodes we've had in a while. The organ harvesting reveal alone had me shook, and then Vusi's collapse on top of it. This show is not playing around this week. If you enjoyed this recap, you know what to do. smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already part of the fam, and drop a comment below telling me who you think is behind the organ harvesting operation, and what you think Nomalanga is going to decide. I read every single comment, so don't be shy. Tomorrow we find out whether Zethu walked herself straight into danger, so trust me, you do not want to miss the next recap. I'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you in the next one.